I think it's very difficult to make a Yautja, the alien race that are the predators, as a protagonist, right? I think they did a great job with it. It's got a ton of great action in it, a lot of fun. It's funny, a lot of humor in it. And Elle Fanning is incredible.
It is very funny in ways that the trailers do not sell at all.
I think Trachtenberg pulled it off. And it's really fun. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Welcome back to the Break Room. In this episode, we are doing a review of Predator Badlands.
Ooh.
Was it good? How does it compare to the other Predator movies? And should we compare it in a ranking with Alien movies? Since Weyland-Yutani is part of this.
Heavily featured.
Heavily featured. It's just the two of us talking about Predator Badlands today. I'm Erik Voss, joined by Brandon Barrick.
Yes, we did have a third panelist today, but we killed them to cull the herd. They were too weak.
They were the weakest.
Yeah.
But they did escape on a ship. They're over on some death planet right now, figuring things out.
Yeah.
Jessica was sick, but she was going to be on the show. She hasn't been able to see Predator Badlands yet. But yeah, we're going to talk about what happens in this movie. We're going to do like kind of a review discussion of it. You know, Siskel and Ebert. There's also Barrick and Voss. And we'll give it 2 mandibles up or 2 mandibles down.
Okay.
I don't know. I've seen this movie a few times now. Our Easter egg breakdown is going to be coming out on Friday, sometime during the day. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs.
Yeah, a lot of fun in this movie.
But let's start with some general thoughts. You and I saw it last night in North Hollywood. What did you think of the film?
I think, without spoiling anything, a very fun film and a great entry into the Predator franchise. I think it's very difficult to make a Yautja, the alien race that are the predators, as a protagonist, right? They are usually the antagonists in these movies. If you're going to make a movie with other protagonists difficult, I think they did a great job with it. It's got a ton of great action in it, a lot of fun. It's funny, a lot of humor in it. And Elle Fanning is incredible in this movie. So good. What did you think about it?
I thought the action was incredible. The fight choreography was really cool. The world building on this planet, Genna, was really cool. All the flora and fauna.
Yes.
And going through the motions of the typical Predator story and the way the prey turns into the hunter by learning some lessons along the way.
A little montage of putting together elements.
Really, really cool.
Yes.
We're keeping it no spoiler just for now, just to give you our general thoughts on it. It is very funny in ways that the trailers do not sell at all. And I was going back to look at all the trailers for this movie, from the first one that showed at CinemaCon in April to the one that I believe aired at some point over the summer, maybe in August or September. And a lot of the action, a lot of the world building, a bit of the humor when it came to Elle Fanning, but not much. And I think it's because subtitles. I think it's because a lot of the humor comes from Dex just kind of almost Drax-esque responses to things. And you can't put jokes and subtitles in the trailer. It's just too hard to convey.
Dex is a Yautja. He takes himself very seriously. Yeah. And the humor that's there, you can't cut it into a trailer, right?
You really can't.
And I remember when the trailer first came out for this film, after, really enjoying Prey and enjoying Killer of Killers, I was like, this seems like a little intense. I don't know what they're going for here, but I think Trachtenberg pulled it off. And it's really fun. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot. And I do like Dex does just speak Yautja the whole time with subtitles, but it works really well.
It really, really, really does. And I think like a lot of people are reacting online justifiably like, wait, funny? Like, I don't want my Predator movie funny.
It would not be fun to sit through just like an intense...
Yeah, not this kind of story. The humor, for the most part, really, really serves the story. And I think every action movie you see should have some elements of humor in it.
They usually do.
That helps balance it out. That helps make the action hit even harder when there's some... It feels fun. Going to movies should be fun.
Yes.
And while I do have some gripes about this movie, especially with how it compares with Prey and some of the other entries to the Predator franchise, I think the humor serves it. And I don't think you need to be afraid of the humor. I just think right now, if you ever pitch something that's funny, I don't know, maybe just the world we're all living in is so dark right now. People don't think laughter is the medicine they need. So I don't know. I just think like Really, the trailers, though, should have included some more humor. I think that is an expectation that you should know going into it.
Because Al Fanning's character does provide a lot of humor also.
Yeah.
And that's not really in the trailer either. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, if you make an action movie with no humor, what you get is Sucker Punch. And not to go after the Snyder Bros, but I don't like Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
That was an exhausting movie to sit through.
Sure, absolutely. And I think also a big part of this is if you look at all the Alien franchise, is there any point where the android is comedic relief?
Ooh.
Like Ash, not that funny. Ian Holm is scary.
No.
Lance Henriksen he's not the Bill Paxton of that movie.
Right.
And then you have Michael Fassbender, more of a scary form.
He has some great one-liners when he's zinging on people in Prometheus.
Yeah.
He zings on a lot of people, and that's a lot of fun.
But even
Winona Ryder was kind of funny.
Yeah.
She was the synth in Resurrection.
Right. Yeah, and then Timothy Olyphant in Alien Earth.
I mean, very funny.
Funny, but ultimately still not designed to be the full comedic relief of that show.
He was the Tinkerbell, and he's so funny. He's great.
Was he the Tinkerbell?
He's Tinkerbell.
Okay.
Not to get off track, but all the Peter Pan analogy in that show, he's jealous of Wendy.
Oh,
because he's closest to Peter first, and then Wendy comes along, and Peter becomes obsessed with Wendy, and he gets jealous. And he starts to organize ways to get these other people out of the way.
All right, I think that's a valid reading of it. I needed you when I was trying to make sense of that show.
He's got the pixie hair. He's literally Tinkerbell.
All right, I'm fair. From here forward, it will be a spoiler conversation. Oh. We will spoil what happens in Predator Badlands. So, we just want to warn you guys, if you haven't seen the movie, we are going to spoil everything that happens in it. We're going to speculate on the future of it, the franchise. We'll spoil... we're going to spoil things that happened in 1987 Predator, possibly...
if you haven't seen that one yet, you're way late.
Yeah, 2022's Prey, 2025's Killer of Killers. If you haven't caught up on everything, if you really, really care about it, you brace yourself. Okay, so let's, we've talked about our general thoughts, a recap of what happens in Predator Badlands. So Predator Badlands introduces us to a young predator Yautja species named Dek. Mm-hmm. He is the runt of his clan. He has a brother named Quay, and they have a rivalry, a nice kind of dueling, a fight at the beginning of the movie. And then you find out that Quay, the older brother, feels indebted to Dek for saving his life somehow through this explosive Yautja children's story.
That was a good setup payoff. That I really enjoyed.
Yeah. So that's why Dek has like a missing fang, but he's also kind of a short king, as Hector Navarro described him as when I saw him earlier this week. And
which is really fun because the Yautja species in all these movies is usually played by an actor who's over 6'8".
Yeah, often a basketball player.
6'8" to 7'2".
Yeah.
They're usually huge, imposing creatures, and for this one you get like a nice bite-sized Yautja.
Yeah, even in the 1987 film, they were going to have Jean-Claude Van Damme do it. And he
put like an extension on his head.
He wasn't tall enough.
No.
Even Jean-Claude Van Damme, not tall enough.
Because all the main dudes in that movie were at least like 6'2".
Yeah, it's because, if you're against Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura, it's hard to be taller than those guys.
Unless he wouldn't stop kicking.
Yeah. So what happens is this cruel father, Najor, tells the older brother, hey, weren't you supposed to kill this guy? Cull the weakness out of our clan. But this older brother, feeling indebted to the younger brother, decides to, at the last second, free his brother, zip him back into the ship.
He tried to argue that his brother should get to have a chance to prove himself.
Exactly.
And his father wouldn't even allow that because constantly, people talk about the Yautja honor code. They have no honor code.
They break the rules all the time.
Always BS.
Yeah.
Always BS.
So where he goes next... Dek, so the brother dies. The brother gives his life to give his brother a chance. He wanted to go to the planet of Genna. It is the death planet. It's where the dreaded species of the Callisk lives, and that is the trophy that Dek wants. So that's where the ship takes him, and we see him on this planet fighting things like carnivorous vines and these poison needles that paralyze you.
It really reminded me of that great animated series, Scavenger's Reign, where it's just this like interesting way of doing like flora and fauna and how everything is like evolved on that planet to kill something else.
Yeah.
And how the creatures even use the flora and fauna on that planet to get their prey. Like great stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
He meets a synth, a Wayland-Yutani synth named Thea, who is in the nest of some vulture that is currently hunting Deck. She's been severed from the midsection down. She helps him with by giving him this antidote to bring him out of the paralysis and killing said vulture. And the two of them basically forge this C-3PO Chewbacca relationship from Empire Strikes Back, where she's worn as a backpack. They make a deal. She'll help Deck find the den of the Calisk. She just wants to get back to her fellow synth, her one that she worked in tandem with, her sister is what she starts calling her, Tessa, also played by Elle Fanning. They kind of work through. They meet another little creature that Thea names Bud. As they're hunting these bone bison in this razor grass field, they almost get eaten by a Luna bug. They work ahead. At some point, Deck wants to leave Bud behind, as adorable and as hilarious as Bud is. But then Thea gets mad at him for that and tries to instruct him about how on Earth there's pack animals like wolves. And sometimes the pack can be stronger than individual apex predators. Right. And this is kind of the lesson that Deck is learning. They find the camp, or a Weyland-Yutani camp that was attacked at some point, but there's a bed where Thea can kind of reconstruct her legs. The Calisk is there. At some point, Thea reveals, oh, well, my programming is Weyland-Yutani wanted to capture the Calisk too. Deck fights the Calisk, tries to behead it, but that thing can regenerate its limbs.
Yeah, incredible.
Tessa gets reawakened and we find out she's the more outdoorsy of the sisters. And she is a true badass. Terminator hunting them down, basically.
Right. She's following the Yutani code to the letter.
Yeah, definitely. And then so she finds her, she catches up and uses some of the Yautja technology that she stole from the main ship, including these freeze grenades. They're all on the ship, and then she's reporting back to the mother, hey, we got one. And then she basically wants to take samples from Deck as well. They're able to get out using this explosive toy. And this leads to this kind of final act where Deck reincorporates all the flora and fauna into this weaponry, including these spray snakes that he uses as kind of a natural version of
his plasma caster.
Yeah,
which is
so
adorable.
Fun. So awesome.
He feeds it little snails.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they were seeds. I thought they were gooey
I thought
seeds.
they were like little snails.
Oh, maybe they were creatures. I couldn't tell. Something gooey.
I've never been to Ghana.
And then so they raid the Weyland-Yutani base where they're able to free everyone, and it ends in a big mech versus kaiju battle between the Calisk and Tessa in an even bigger yellow loader.
Love it.
They fight it out. Basically, Tessa gets eaten, but has a freeze grenade with her and blows up the poor mama.
After like a very sweet sequence when you're like, oh, great. But I was like waiting for her to blast out. So I was like, this isn't done yet.
Because we find out that Bud is basically a child version of the Calisk. Maybe even this mother's a child. Mm-hmm. We don't know if it's just kind of a village that raises it. We don't know. But what happens is Deck becomes like fully formed. He saves Thea. She reconstructs her legs. There's a lot of really fun action that happens here. But they're able to defeat Tessa and get her skull boiled down and return to the Yautja home world, where now
he confronts his
father, throwing the skull of Tessa in front of him. Has a pretty epic fight, defeats his father in battle. Now Bud has grown. He's huge now. And a new ship appears on the horizon. Deck has his own clan now. He doesn't want to join his father's clan. A new ship appears on the horizon, and Deck says it's his mother.
Adorable.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. So
maybe nowhere.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of The Breakroom. As we head into the end of the year, the days are getting shorter, and that can have a real impact on people's mental health. If you've been on the fence about reaching out to an old friend to get coffee, now's the perfect time to do it. It can take a little mental energy, but afterwards you'll wind up feeling like, why didn't I do this sooner? Well, starting therapy can also feel difficult, but BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. BetterHelp does the matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences. BetterHelp's more than 12 years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they'll typically match you with a therapist that's right for you the first time. If you aren't happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recs. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This month, don't wait to reach out. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/breakroom. That's betterhelp.com/breakroom. We've talked about what we like about this movie. What do you think are like the like right now it has a pretty good Rotten Tomatoes score.
Mm-hmm.
I think it led with like a 90 somewhere in the 90s. Maybe it's lower now. We're still waiting on the audience score as of this taping. People seem to be generally pleased. We'll see what the cinema score is. I kind of feel like this is going to be like an A- or an A. It's a very designed to be a crowd-pleasing movie.
And it's a movie where you can just drop into it.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things I think is strongest about the Predator franchise and hurts the Alien franchise is that Alien is always trying to connect to the last movie and bring in elements. Predator's constantly been an anthology, and that was kind of, thankfully, Schwarzenegger was not available to come back for Predator 2.
Yeah.
And it kind of forced this pattern of like an anthology series, which I think works better. And I think Trachtenberg realizes the strength in that and is utilizing it well. Mm-hmm. And I almost hope they don't follow up anymore with it. I don't want to see the Predator Badlands 2. I don't need it. This was great. And like, I think the ending reveal of like, oh, that's my mom. It's like, that's a great just button. There's no post-credit sequence. There's no like, bringing in Weyland Yutani is interesting, but I almost don't need this to lead to like an Alien versus Predator again. Mm-hmm. I kind of just like it. It reminds me of what I enjoyed about the Dark Horse comics when they had the Alien and the Predator franchise series. They would keep them separate, and they also had a storyline where they would fight each other. But like, it's kind of nice that it's like, they exist in the same space, but we don't need that to be the strong narrative here. Yeah, I enjoy that about it.
It does really, really work on its own. Yeah. You don't need to have watched
You don't need to know anything.
Yeah. You don't need to have read anything. You don't even need to have watched a new Rockstars video, though we would appreciate it if you do. It really does work on its own, and I'm super impressed. I mean, Dan Trachtenberg directed, let's see, this guy started making shorts on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You know, he's directed a lot of different types of media. He directed that Portals short film that was on YouTube. He directed the pilot of The Boys. So that shot of Robin getting swiped by A-Train, that was Dan Trachtenberg. He directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was revealed to be very connected to the Cloverfield franchise.
A big surprise that people did not know going into the movie.
Yeah. And then he directed 2022's Prey, which is just the Predator story set in the Great Northern Plains in 1719, a movie that rocks.
So good.
Good.
And it's funny because that story, when he was initially pitching a story concept to Fox, they were working on The Predator, Shane Black's The Predator at the time, and they were like, we kind of like your idea, but like we can turn it into a Predator movie. And that's kind of what happened with Prey. And I think it worked out for the best because I think he kind of fell in love with it. And the world, and saw that like it was kind of being neglected. I think the Predator franchise has always been more neglected than the Alien franchise and treated less respectfully. And I like what he's doing with it and kind of like building out the worlds. And he's a guy who's like very focused on, with both Killer of Killers and Prey, his big goal was like, I want to have a good story with our characters. And then a Yautja shows up. Right. And he does a great job with that. And I really enjoy it. But here with like a Yautja first story, I think it's fun and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah. And Prey ended up being kind of this sleeper hit. On Hulu in 2022. And a lot of people were like, a Hulu movie, but it ended up being like the highest watched movie in Hulu's history. Won Emmys for some of the technical categories.
It was not eligible for Oscars.
Yeah. And it was just a really amazing story. It's incredible. So of course, like, Fox under Disney's leadership wanted this guy to make another one. And then even as late, this time last year, they announced that, so we got Predator Badlands coming next year. But surprise, we have an animated movie coming to Hulu in May. And so that was Predator Killer of Killers, which you should also go watch if you haven't. It's so good, and it's an anthology story. And all of it's fantastic. But talking about kind of the legacy, because, we've been working on this Predator rewatch series. You wrote most of those scripts for us, and we really valued having you help us with that research. But it was interesting to go back and explore the history of this franchise because you're right. It's not what Alien was.
No.
And it wasn't, just the fact that in Predator 2 in 1990, there was a xenomorph skull. That was the first time people were like, oh, same universe. These two got to fight at some point.
This was just like Fox had a hit, kind of a sleeper hit with Predator, and they're like, okay, we'll keep making more of them. And then because Stan Winston's, studio worked on both effects for both the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise, it was like, well, we could throw in a xenomorph skull just for a little jokey-roo. And then a whole universe was born.
I mean, with Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien and James Cameron's Aliens, that franchise had a bit more prestige and respect on it.
Totally.
In the way it influenced sci-fi and sci-fi action afterwards. It gave both of these guys the bigger careers they were able to build on thereafter. It wasn't the first movie either of those guys that directed, but like if you look at their history of films throughout the 80s, it really started with those.
Yes.
You know? So like it always had that on there. But then you had John McTiernan's Predator in 1987 that kind of felt like a dumb, like kind of sci-fi action that was not trying to go for anything profound.
No, it was Predator is a really great, simple story that is just told really well, really efficiently. And they brought in the same screenwriters to do Predator 2. And you can feel them being like, we're going to blow this boy wide open. And they went for like too much, I think. And it just got away from them. And those were really the only movies they wrote. But yeah, like the first Predator is so efficient and so slick. It's just like a very simple story that didn't want to get into like the lore or anything.
And it's set up like the two franchises to be like Alien is a franchise with its head up its own ass.
It's very intellectual, very like.
And I prefer it, you know, but Predator is the movie that's just dumb, trashy fun.
Right.
And that dumb, trashy fun can really take you to some interesting places. Now, over the years, Dan Trachtenberg has changed that. I think he has made it interestingly profound in other ways through Prey.
And I think that was also done by, you know, the people who worked on kind of the novels set in the universe and like the
all the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah, a lot of that. You can see Trachtenberg using a lot of that influence, especially with this idea of like the Yautja Codex, right? That kind of came about through the expanded universe. The idea that Yautja Prime is this kind of like deserty planet. The idea that there's different clans, because that's the thing Trachtenberg has kind of said too. It's like each of these predators we see in his films, they're not necessarily representative of like the predator as a whole, right?
Right.
There's like separate clans who kind of have their own thing and do things their own way.
Right.
Like in Killer of Killers, the guy who like flies around in a ship and doesn't even like collect skulls or anything. Like he's not living by any code.
No,
right?
he could be like Randy Quaid from Independence Day.
Yeah, he's the guy who went crazy.
He's just like, woohoo! And everyone's like, what are you doing?
No, this is not how, he doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah. He's a weird one. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. By putting the story of Predator Badlands in a shared universe with Weyland-Yutani, that was a big part of the marketing for this movie. Dan Trachtenberg knows what he's doing there. How do you feel about that? After seeing the movie now, what we basically learned was very little, really. Right. It's that Weyland-Yutani had all these synths on this death planet trying to capture the Kalisk and other samples. We learned that Weyland-Yutani are aware of the Yautja species and are wary of them, but aren't going to say no if someone captures one.
Yeah.
And we learned that, like, other things like Weyland-Yutani has not cracked sub-light travel yet.
Right.
Which is a little confusing with other alien movies that we've seen. And we've learned that they have some synths that have some sensitivity drives that can really be cranked up because Tessa and Thea are more emotional than the other male synths in the colony. But there was no xenomorph. There's no xenomorph egg. There's no mention of any of the lore, none of the engineers, none of that stuff. Just... we didn't even learn about... there's no humans in this movie.
Yeah.
We don't see how the humans are who work for Weyland-Yutani and what they're really trying to do. We don't see Earth. So, like, why do you think Dan Trachtenberg did that then?
I think just to kind of... I think it was a smart way to set this movie on an alien planet but still have, like, humanoid creatures and speak English, right?
Yeah.
Like, all that makes a lot more sense. Because if, you know, you have the flora and fauna of this planet, but if you're also going to have an alien species that's, you know, heightened enough to like build things and converse and have weapons and all that, it's like it would be too much to explain like where this alien species fits inside the universe. I think it was just smart to just kind of like throw a bunch of synths on there. And like I said before, I really like because it's kind of like how the comics would work, where it was like you would just get little references here and there. I think it's enough. And it doesn't get into it too much. And oddly enough, I think it fits in really well with Alien Earth, where it was like, oh yeah, these synths are collecting creatures to send back to Earth to study, because that's how like Weyland-Yutani makes money now, right? It's like they've harnessed every resource on Earth, they've harnessed every resource within the solar system. So now it's like, well, what can we learn from alien species all over the universe.
Yeah.
And it kind of fits in because like even like the little vine thing that they like were boxing up, it reminded me of like the Pluribus.
The D Plumbicare.
The D Plumbicare, right? I was like, oh, that's like very funny. And they're putting it in a box and sending it back. And like, it all kind of made sense.
I get that is part of Weyland-Yutani's drive. I just feel like, I like that Weyland-Yutani is kind of a faceless organization. All we hear of is just the voice of Mother or just text on screen. I really dig that. But also there's usually a human component of someone like Burke or Ash the android is kind of a representative of Weyland-Yutani. Maybe I don't need any kind of face representative of it, but we learned so much about, I think you do need to see the human impact of Weyland-Yutani in order for it to really hit hard. Yeah. Like to see what happens to the crew of the Nostromo, to see the colonial Marines, in all of the prison colony in Alien 3, and then in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, you see like either pilgrims as in or whatever this expedition is in Prometheus. I think you need to see how this corporation so devalues human life. And the fact that we didn't get to see that or really explore that in this movie, like I think it would have helped to just hear Mother say something like, or Tessa say like, well, they're trying to find a way to make the 1% immortal or something on the planet. Like, like I guess that wouldn't be her job to know that.
It was weirdly implied. We were talking about that where it's like, oh, Tessa's excited to send this creature back because it'll be good for like people.
Like to be able to regenerate limbs.
Which I was like oh, because every android we've met or every synth we've met recently in Weyland-Yutani is like, we hate humans.
I guess it's kind of similar to Avatar: The Way of Water, though. The whale brain matter that is basically makes people immortal. The unobtainium in this thing from whales that makes people immortal. It stops aging. So like that, maybe they didn't want to go in that direction, but even still, like to me, Weyland-Yutani is about like the human suffering of it, and we didn't have any humans to suffer in this movie. So I just don't understand what Weyland-Yutani's relationship is with Dek. But we did get some questions with Thea about artificial intelligence and like, what is our purpose? Like maybe we can be beyond what our calling is. I liked that. And I like this idea. I guess what I'm feeling is like, I got a chance to interview Dan Trachtenberg and Elle Fanning and Demetrius Schuster Kolomotangi at Comic-Con. And I asked them the question like, hey, are you trying to do something in this movie where we're talking about the mother code, the binary code of Weyland-Yutani versus the Yautja code, and kind of doing a comparative analysis of those codes? And like the way they reacted, we're like all looking at each other excited. They're like, wait till you see the movie. And then coming out of the movie, I'm like, that movie didn't tell me anything about that. Like you kind of, it felt like they pulled their punches a little bit with that. And like, I'm excited. I know Trachtenberg has these opinions about the Yautja code and how bullshit it is, how they drop it out of hat.
It's clear that he feels that way.
And I just would have liked a bit more of like Dek's relationship with the code. And I just know that Dek was pissed at Tessa for what Tessa was trying to do to him and what Tessa did to Thea. But like, I don't think Dek had much of an opinion about the code of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation.
I did feel like when you first see the mother code and it refers to the callus as like species XX052 or something, I thought the big reveal was going to be like, there is no callus. And this has always been a trap to catch a Yautja. Like, that's what I thought was happening here. And I was kind of like, oh, that it went halfway there where it's like, oh, well, yeah, we'll keep this Yautja now that we got him. But it was like, I thought this was all a trap to catch the Yautja, which I thought would have been a little more interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if this was in previous drafts. I just felt like at the end of the day, it didn't need to be Weyland-Yutani in this movie. Or at least like what big hardcore alien nerds are into Weyland-Yutani about, none of that really made its way into this movie. It was just kind of set dressing. It felt like just an Easter egg to get nerds like me into the theater.
And it's a smart way to fill the planet with synths that when you cut them up, it's just sparks and it's not blood and it's PG-13.
It's white goo.
It makes it fine.
Yeah. And you know, I guess if you're just like, it's already a shared universe, why not make it Weyland-Yutani? I get it. I get the logic of it. I just wish that there was a thematic element to it that really put that as a philosophical debate at the center of the movie.
There was a moment, I think, when Tessa was wearing like the raincoat, the kind of black cloak, and I was like, is that David? Because like you didn't see the face at first because David was wearing the cloak of the Covenant. I just want an end to the David story.
We're never going to get it.
So good.
We will never get Ridley Scott's
Fassbender, come back as David.
Never going to happen.
Please.
I overall loved the fighting in it. I loved the action. So one of the screenings I saw was 4DX.
I'll never do it.
Holy shit. This is a hell of a movie to see in 4. I wouldn't recommend it for most movies, to be honest. Nothing against Regal and 4DX. It's an acquired taste for certain action movies. And I think this is one where it does work.
There were some really cool shots, both during action sequences and during other parts. Like when he first comes out of space in orbit of the planet, it's kind of like a long take as the ship is crashing. It's really well done.
Yeah.
That, and when he's like kind of running up the arm of like the giant loader, and like the way they shot the giant loader, it's a little dark and hard to see sometimes, but like it really keeps the action down low, and you get the feel of the immense size of the loader. And it was really well done.
Yeah.
And the whole sequence of like bottom half and top half fighting together was just great. It was kind of like Onward. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, like,
when they're following the legs, I was like, this is Onward.
It's
like, what's happening?
Onward.
But that was like a very fun sequence. Again, Elle Fanning, great in this movie. Like, really steals the show.
One of the conversations around this movie online, based off of the early wave of reviews describing it as charming, as funny as it is there's been a lot of like, it's been like influencer-inspired backlash.
Sure.
People who hadn't even seen the movie, but, watched a certain YouTuber or podcaster who said, this isn't what Predator should be, woke Disney at it again. And then they basically just repeat those talking points in my replies. And it's just like, man, how sad it is if you can't even form your own opinions. You can't even wait to watch a movie yourself. You just have to wait till whatever. I'm not even going to name those channels because I don't want to give them any love. But like, you just like get all your opinions from them. And I know you're going to say, well, that's what the other side does when you Rockstars. They get all excited for these. Like, no one is like waiting for my opinion about Predator Badlands and then going to go repeat that opinion. They might get excited and go see it themselves. But if their opinion is different than mine, they're going to come at me too. They're going to be like, I disagree. So it's just like, I think the negativity train is far more controlling over like the opinions of their followers than the positivity train is on their followers. That's my take.
Yeah, I don't know what you would like hate about this movie or consider it woke. I mean, I did think it was weird when Dex voted to redistrict Jenna. I thought that was a little, I don't know what kind of message they're putting out there. But, if the message of this movie is like, hey, maybe the way that you were raised in is not the best and your parents did a bad job and you can find your own family, like I think that's a positive message.
Right.
Let's not forget that most Yautja are bad at their job because they usually get killed by a human. Yeah. A human with way less tech is usually able to kill them. They're not that great at hunting, and they only hunt by using extremely overpowered technology against their prey. Like, it's not impressive. They have no honor. They have no code. Even in Killer of Killers established that, right? When the three humans are brought to the arena to fight, they're given like very poor weapons on purpose, and then when they start to get an upper hand, the Grendel King just throws in more stuff for them to fight. It's all BS.
It's all BS. It's all BS. Inconsistent. But what people are saying, people who this wasn't necessarily their cup of tea, is that there is a lot of charm. There is a lot of humor in this.
It's a movie.
And no. And I'm trying to give voice to people that like this.
Not finding
it. Because like I liked this movie a lot. I'll grade it, I'll rank it at the end of this stream. Yeah. But what I am willing to meet people where they are in regards to there's a lot of cute bullshit in this movie.
Yeah, Bud's a little much sometimes.
Yeah, that kind of, I think, takes a step beyond what even Trachtenberg set to be his own standard. It feels like he took a note to have, like, really it comes down to the character of Bud for me. The baby Callus, it does not work for me in this movie. It really does not work for me in that, like, it just feels very, like, when you see Lost World Jurassic Park, the baby T-Rex. When you see Godzilla, the baby Godzilla. Baby Groot. And it feels very James Gunn coded. Right. And I like a lot of what James Gunn does. I don't like this thing that James Gunn does of like the baby Groot, the Eagly of Peacemaker. In Superman, he had both baby Joey and he had the baby little...
Right, and even like the dog is a little bit of like...
Yeah. And I loved the dog in Prey, but when you get like a little CGI cute thing who's hopping around, beating things up because it's badass, I get sick of that. Yeah. And like, we've just seen it so much, and this movie did not need it.
Yeah.
Like, it really didn't need that. It helps it in some ways, structure, but I think there are other structural ways around it.
Yeah, I think Dex would have learned his lesson without Bud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
or without Bud being so anthropomorphic. I don't know.
The crowd loved it.
Yeah.
Both times I saw it in the theater, the crowd adored it. For me, I was just kind of like, all right, fine. It's funny. A lot of really funny shit happens with this, but it does. There are times where I'm like, having just watched all the other Predator movies, I was like, all right, this just made it more like Star Wars. It made it more like Guardians of the Galaxy.
It is the least serious of them.
Yeah. And the movie just doesn't need it, I think.
Right.
Like, there's already enough humor coming from Elle Fanning.
Yeah, they're great together. It's like, I don't need this other element. Or you could still use it, but you don't need it as much as you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't, like, hurt the movie that much for me.
No.
Because if anything, it just makes it more funny. And it does, like, fit with the action of the movie. It fits with this whole theme of found family. It doesn't feel, like, out of place in the movie. It just feels, like, unnecessary.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe in that point you do have a human character or something like that. But, I mean, James Cameron did this in Aliens with Newt. And Newt was kind of the resourceful little kid. Like, it's a too much of a
James Cameron loves a kid. We got baby John Connor. We got the babies in Avatar. The little rat in the abyss. You know, he's always doing it with little cute little things.
And maybe that is just kind of like the way movies work. Like you're trying to make this movie. It's PG-13. They're trying to make a lot of money with this. So that is kind of like the formula.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just like, and I don't know, maybe they didn't want to do an R-rated. Would an R-rated version of Predator Badlands have been more successful than this PG-13
I don't know. I mean, not the way they start. You need a new element to the movie, I think. And again, I don't think an R-rated Yautja protagonist movie would be as much fun. Like, are we rooting for them to kill whatever they're hunting? Like in the R-rated version, do they learn a lesson? I guess the big difference would be, right, it would be a colony of humans that you could cut up and there'd be more blood.
Can I pitch a really bad version of this?
Yeah, give me the bad
okay, a really shitty version of this is you, on the Yautja ship, as they're planning to go to Genna, there's a cryopod on it. And in that cryopod is Dutch. Or Harrigan. Or Naru. Maybe all three of them. But at least one of them, they fly out of the wreckage. And at one point, you know, after Deck is fighting through the carnivorous vines, after he meets the around the time Tessa wakes up, somewhere else in the jungle, Dutch. Where am I? Or, you know, this, again, a very, very shitty version of this. I'm just saying, like, you could have a human component, or we introduce a new human who fought a Yautja over the ages at some point.
Quay had captured them and was bringing them back, but they're still on the ship. And, like,
World War II soldier or someone from, you know, at any point, 1970s, wherever.
He's got David Berkowitz inside the cryopod. I mean, that kind of happens in Predators. Topher Grace is like a serial killer.
A Vietnam soldier or something like that.
That's Dutch.
Yeah. But like who was taken from Cambodia or something like that.
Straight out of the prison. It's John McCain.
Someone who can say fuck in the movie. Because right now, no one in this movie is going to say fuck.
No.
And like, that's like, I'm not going to say that will make it a better movie, but it does bring an element of humanity that if you're going to make it a 3-person team with Deck and Thea and Bud, that number 3 could be anything else other than like a CGI cute little baby who can kick.
I guess at no point do I think that, you know, Deck or Thea are not making it out of this movie, right? I'm never concerned about them making it all the way to the end. And maybe an R-rated version somehow you can toy with that a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could have had Quay alive for longer and he dies at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like how it works.
If you do have a human in it, immediately it downgrades the Yautja. I get why I get why Trachtenberg didn't do that, because like he wanted to put the Yautja as like the character we cared about the most. And if you put any human in that story, immediately you care less. So I get it that doesn't work. I just think like then just make it a 2-hander. Yeah. You didn't need to bring it.
And I think it's more impressive to me that you make a successful PG-13 version, because it's like a lot of, you know, these are action movies from the 80s that kept going all the way to PG-13. I'm looking at you, Die Hard. They got worse. You know what I mean? Like when you PG-13 that movie down, it's like not as fun anymore. But this was like impressive that he's able to do this. You know, I get the knocks that maybe it's a little sillier. Like it's certainly not as serious as Prey, which is great and is very serious and very heavy. Like this one is not that, but I kind of liked it in that it kind of broke the formula a little bit, which I appreciated. I think that does work for it.
Okay.
I don't know if you don't have to make it R-rated if you can pull this off. And it's
really
smart
don't.
for Trachtenberg because if you're gonna get kids into this franchise, you got to get a movie that they can watch.
Yeah. And
this is a little bit closer to that.
This is a super violent movie. Let's not kid ourselves. If
it has a very violent beginning.
Sure, and if these characters were human and when they get their limbs severed and it's red blood coming out, then it would be R-rated. It's only PG-13 because they're green-blooded Yautja and white-blooded synths. That's the only reason. Because like that level of violence is enough to get you.
And there's fun like body horror of like, even though there's sense like the things going in their ears is like, or like touching their eyes. It's like,
yeah, definitely. So overall, I thought it was successful. Should we? Let's give it a rating. Let's give it a number out of 10.
Okay.
And then I'm curious to hear your rankings
of where I would put it.
Or you can put it in tiers, or you can do it specific rankings.
Yeah.
For me, I would give this. It wasn't like a 9 out of 10 for me, but it is in the 8. So I would give it like an 8.4 out of 10.
I was thinking 8.5 out of 10.
Okay,
You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit higher. Like I think a lot of stuff kind of gets rushed in the movie. It's not patient. It is not a slow-paced movie. Like, I think it is going constantly. And I could have used a little bit of a slowdown. But I would put it around an 8.5, I think. Because there's little things you might change. Again, like too much blood. But I did enjoy a lot of it. I would love to have seen more creatures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they definitely show a lot. But it's going so fast. Like, I would like a little more slow play on the creatures of this universe.
Yeah.
But
I did love those spray snakes. The snakes are great.
Spray snakes.
The
I like
eels or
the
whatever.
exploding needle plants.
The boom bugs or the boom slugs.
Oh, that was one of the best laughs I had in that movie.
I laughed
the
my
first
ass off.
boom slug.
So funny.
And I did love his like cute little armor he made out of like guts and bone bison.
Bone bison hide.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Where I would rank this one, I mean, in the whole of the Predator franchise, right? Throw the AVPs down at the bottom. Don't even need them.
Okay.
Then on top of that, you put the Predator, Shane Black's.
Okay.
Then I would put, oof. I had a lot of love for Predator 2 as a child, and rewatching it for the rewatch series, it did not hold up as much as I would have thought of. But I think I would do Predators and then Predator 2.
Okay.
And then I would do maybe Killer of Killers, then Badlands, then Prey, then Predator.
Prey, then Predator.
Yeah.
So 1987 is the best, then Prey.
I mean, I like Prey a lot.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I think I was impressed with how much Predator holds up. And I think it gets a little bump for that. For being able to have been made in 1987 and still be that good and tight. Like, Prey is great, and I have very little faults with that movie. But I'm just impressed that Predator still holds up so well in my mind. Now, again, I'm an old man who enjoys the 80s action flick, and it has a lot of that in it. But it's good. It's really good. I don't know. Maybe they're tied.
Yeah, and it will change. This ranking's not a forever thing, but it depends on like what brings you into the Predator franchise.
And I would only put this above Killer of Killers, maybe because like a little animation bias. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I like Killer of Killers, but it is speeding through its stories a lot. You know, the animation sometimes I'm just like, I'm not here for it as much.
Yeah.
It's a little bigger, a little sillier because it is animated and they can do that. And that's fun, and I'm glad they take advantage of that.
Yeah. For sure.
But I think Badlands is really, really well done for like a live action Predator movie.
For me, I don't put both the AVPs at the bottom. I'll put Requiem at the bottom, then the Predator, and then AVP. I think AVP, the first AVP's kind of fun.
That's the one where they're in the Aztec temple. Okay.
Or it flashes back. Yeah. Then, so those three still, though, at the bottom. Then I would say, I think Predator 2 at this point. Yeah. I really loved Predator 2. It's just the first half of Predator 2 until Busey gets in there. It's like, what am I watching?
His brain was scrambled. They should have put him back in front of a camera.
But once Busey gets in the picture, it's suddenly, if it was just the second half of that movie, it'd be like top 3.
Yeah.
I really, really love how it ends. Then I would say, like Killers and Badlands are kind of together for me. Wait, no, I haven't gotten to. I would put Predators, 2010's Predators over Predator 2.
Okay.
Because I like that better than over throughout. It works better. Just the cast. Everyone in that movie is so damn good. I mean, great cast for Predator 2 as well.
Right.
Okay, so then we get to the Trachtenberg, other two that aren't Prey. And I would probably still put Predator. I think Predator Killer of Killers I have to put over Badlands. I go back and forth because I agree with you. Killer of Killers, it's animation, and I love animation. I never want to be the guy who says this, but this particular animation is one that you could watch on a small screen.
Yeah.
It's not the type of animation that demands to be seen on a big screen. A lot of animation is. Everything Studio Ghibli, everything Pixar.
Yeah.
Yes. But in this case, even Dan Trachtenberg admitted, like, we had some kind of silly physics in this because it's animation. And it's like, well, if you feel it that way. So with that in mind, but I still do think the way the themes were played out and the way Dan Trachtenberg explored the lore of, like, and the diversity of the Yautja species while linking all those stories together, and Predator Killer of Killers was really, really impressive.
Yeah, the reveal at the end, the fourth act, is kind of like very fun. Where you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
I was just hooked throughout. Yeah. And I think there's just some narrative things that are just not necessary in Predator Badlands, even though it might be the bigger cinematic accomplishment. Yeah. Just like the fact that he could pull it off with no humans. I'm even regretting ranking it where I'm ranking it now, but that's just, I just love Killer of Killers that much. So now we're getting to our top two, right? Mm-hmm. I rank Predator, the original 87 Predator number 2 and Prey number 1. I think Prey is the better movie. Yeah. And I love 87 Predator. I really, really do adore that movie. Again, accomplishing something that I had no business accomplishing, but I think Prey just like makes a perfect version of that story. Right. I know, but I mean, I think a lot of people in the comments are like, are you crazy? Predator is the best one. Without that, you wouldn't have... Like, everything's been diminishing returns.
Like when they ask you to rank like the Star Wars films, it's like you got to put A New Hope like pretty high at the top because without it, it's like you don't have any of it. But Prey
and I do
like
that with
really
Star Wars.
Good.
The original Star Wars is my number 1 Star Wars film for that reason.
Empire Dog.
I just think Prey is that good.
Yeah, Prey's really good.
Prey is that fucking good. And the fact that it's like a period story, the fact it's like characters that are never really given a spotlight. And the action is so good. I think Prey, comparing Badlands and Prey, Trachtenberg did not surpass Prey with Badlands.
No. And like almost kind of use the same thing, right? In Prey, you have an older brother who's looking out for their sibling that is uncounted or undervalued in their tribe.
Who says, bring it home.
Who says, bring it home. Yeah. Who sacrifices themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's all very beautiful. And it is like, it's almost the same story, right? Because it's like, Naru wanted to go on her Kumatea, her journey, her battle, and it's like that's what Dex wanted to do and was not allowed. And the brother steps in to allow them to do it. Like I do like the synergy. It's poetry. It rhymes.
So just to do kind of a box office corner here, this movie's projected to make $35 to $40 million domestically. Domestically refers to North America, United States, and Canada in its opening weekend. That would make it the second highest grossing Predator movie. I think Alien vs. Predator was the highest grossing at $48 million. We'll see if it surpasses
for opening weekend.
For its opening weekend domestic. So we'll see if it surpasses it. Do you think Predator Badlands, for as crowd-pleasing as it is, PG-13, could it be the highest grossing Predator movie of all time in the long run?
I think it's possible. I think the movie will have good word of mouth. It seems to have it going into it, good reviews, good word of mouth. Like, if this had been, you know, if the world was different and this had been Prey, right? And Prey had its time at the box office and that's where it premiered, I think it would have killed, literally, and done really well. This I think this could be the highest grosses. We were kind of talking like, what's the next big action movie coming down the pipe? And that's The Running Man, which I don't know how that's going to do. Yeah. But I think this could have a pretty solid like second and third weekend and wind up doing fairly well.
Yeah.
And I think the PG-13 obviously helps that. Yeah. You know, it's not a limiting fact. You know, Deadpool and Wolverine obviously went on to make $1 billion, even though it was R-rated. But it's like this, I think this can really shine. And I think the word of mouth will help. And I think this could be the top grossing Predator film.
As much as we love the Predator franchise, it's a franchise made off of R-rated adult geared,
usually like hyper violent.
Yeah. So this is doing something different with the IP. It's trying to get those dads who can now feel comfortable bringing their kids to it. or those grandparents. I mean, 87.
Well, my dads in the 80s felt comfortable bringing their kids to this movie.
And honestly, like the number of trick-or-treaters I had to my place who were Art the Clown, and they're like 9-year-olds from the Terrifier. I'm like, what are kids watching? Like that, I'm afraid to watch that. But anyway, you're right that the R rating was enough to stop my screenings of The Joker or Deadpool and Wolverine from being filled with kids, you know? So, I don't know.
If you took your kid to Joker Fall I Do, shame on you. You know what I mean? They deserve better.
So, we'll see. I do think it has a very strong chance of being a high-grossing Predator movie. I don't know what the franchise looks like beyond this.
I don't know, because we haven't really heard what's next, right?
We don't. But here's a theory that I have. If Predator Killer of Killers came out on Hulu and Disney Plus in May, this movie comes out in November. You know, it's out now.
Right.
It feels like kind of a weird movie to release in November. Yeah. Because this is going to be the month where we have like Zootopia, Wicked for Good, you know, these kind of holiday type things. We've seen action. Thor Ragnarok was this weekend back in 2017. So you can have action movies in November. Right. Certainly. There's a lot of action movies. But looking ahead to this coming May, now that we don't have a Marvel movie then, we have Mandalorian and Grogu coming up at the end of May. Doesn't it feel like if they were to drop this that first weekend of May,
this
in 2026, if they were to delay it and push it to where like Mortal Kombat delayed things. Right. Like Mortal Kombat was going to be in October. They pushed it to this May. If Fox had done that, I kind of feel like this movie makes $50 million more.
Does a little better. That's possible.
It does a little because it feels like a good summer movie, doesn't it?
I don't know. You're gonna get a lot of people with flights canceled this weekend. Fly, so
oh my god,
they could stick around and see it. You know what I mean? You can't go to a national park. Well, you can go to some national parks, but presidential libraries are closed. Yeah, can't go see Eisenhower's library, so go see this weekend. Can't go up in the St. Louis Arch. Go see this weekend. Go see Badlands, guys. Also, I want to give flowers to Dan Trachtenberg. Thank you for consistently putting the title of the movie at the beginning of the movie. I'm so sick of movies where the title's at the very end.
What are you talking about? This was in...
Well, it has a cold open.
20 minutes in!
But still, I love it. And it's so 80s with the MMXV.
Yeah, I like when it comes. It's such a cool... It got an applause.
They do it the same way they did it in Prey, where it's like a person standing on a vista overlooking. It's just like, I love that. Yeah. And I hate that movies have started putting titles at the end. Like it's a clever thing. But put it at the beginning.
Yeah, it's more fun. Whose fault is that? Is that Marvel kind of did that? Or
it might have been Marvel that started
Chris Nolan. Ooh. Did he ever have like
was it the Dark Knight? Was at the very end?
Inception at the end. Yes. Yeah. Interstellar.
It was probably Garden State. I blame Garden State for everything. Garden State's how when we started getting they stopped doing voiceovers in trailers. Garden State. That started that trend of just dialogue and sound and music.
I love that.
Bring back the voiceover guy.
Yeah, what was that guy's name?
There was a couple of them. One of them's dead to me.
He didn't come to Brandon's birthday.
There was like 3 guys that did it mostly. Yeah, they would pass around jobs in the industry.
Well, comment down below with your thoughts on Predator Badlands. How would you rank this? How would you rate it out of 10? Do you think we're being too kind to it? Do you think we're being too hard on the whole bud elements of it? Do you like the amount of Weyland-Yutani you got in it? We want to hear your thoughts. Try to be respectful out there because, anytime you get into debating a movie, people tend to get a little rowdy.
What?
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's an insane idea. Who would get rowdy talking about movies?
Who knows? But we appreciate all you guys joining us today. Thank you to Brian Kim for producing and editing this episode. Brandon.
Thanks, Brian. Sorry we spoiled the movie for you, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, Brian.
There's a Yautja in it.
Brandon, it's great chatting with you. Thanks for coming back.
Great chatting with you, Erik. I was happy to be here.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.